Hey everyone, welcome to the Progressive Social Warriors. So I want to get into the whole Democrat versus Justice Democrats versus third parties versus Greens versus Draft for Bernie, and why I think it is so important for all of us to stop putting ourselves in groups and camps. So a lot of people might not know, but I've mentioned it in previous videos, but I haven't mentioned it in a while. I'm actually from Canada. Now, the reason I'm getting into this topic is because I actually live in a country that has a three-party system. We actually have 5 parties, but three major parties. And so I think I have a little bit of a perspective on this, looking from the outside, looking in. The reason why I feel this is so important is because at the end of the day, I already have all the stuff that you guys are fighting for. I have universal health care. I have paid leave for women. I have affordable college. I have all kinds of things that are already that you guys are still having to fight for. And I hate it. And this is why I try and fight so hard to get to help in your guys' fight, because I believe in the fight. I am a progressive and I want all those things for you guys. And I think all of you deserve it. So I want to get into, and I think this is important because, you know, Bernie or Tulsi or someone like that might end up running into office. And we need support underneath them for them to get the policies through. And, so that's why it's important to try and get as many progressives in office in whichever way you can. So I want to get into the whole third party thing. And just before I start the video, I just want to make a couple of examples, okay? So we're talking about, let's talk about Democrats. Let's start with the Democrats. So let's take, for example, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, sorry. The lawyer who's running against Nancy Pelosi. Now he's running as a Democrat. He voted for Bernie Sanders. He believes in Bernie Sanders' policies. He believes in, I think, the major issues that everyone should be focusing on, which is universal health care and minimum wage and affordable college and paid leave for women and environmental issues and criminal justice issues, all those kind of stuff, and many more. But you know, those are just to name a few. People are not going to vote for that man because he's in the Democratic Party. Because if you're doing that just because you don't want to vote Democrat because you think the Democratic Party is so corrupted, then you are never going to accomplish what we need to accomplish. That's in my opinion, and I'm going to explain why. Okay, so let's just get that person. Just want to use that one example as far as the Democrats are concerned. Now we're going to go into the Justice Democrats. Some people have a problem with Ro Khanna. Okay, that's fine. But do you have a problem with Paula and Cori Bush, who are just 2 regular people who are already fighting for justice without even running? They're just doing it out of their own free will because they believed in it so much. And you can check them out if you haven't. Are you not going to vote for them because you don't like the Justice Democrats and you think they're corrupted? This is what I'm trying to say. Do not base your opinions, in my opinion, on organizations that are corrupted, okay? Regardless and I don't think the Justice Democrats are corrupted. That's just my point of view. But if you want to believe that, that's fine. I'm not going to get into that right now. Do not look at the letter in front of names, like a D in front of a name, or Justice Democrats, or a third party. Because I'm going to show you at the end of the day that all parties, left third parties, even left third parties will get corrupted. As long as there's people involved in a party, they tend to always get corrupted. And living in Canada, having a legitimate 3-party system, the NDP also have their issues of corruption. And so if anyone's just waiting for a miracle third party that's going to come and save the day, sorry, but that's not going to happen. And anyone who thinks that the Democratic Party is just going to implode and a third party is going to knock them off the face of the universe, that is also not going to happen. That is why you need to infiltrate them any which way you can. You got to try and get progressives in any which way you can. Yes, it's going to be hard, but I'm going to show you how it's going to be hard to do, to get a third party and to infiltrate the Democrats. Each is going to be hard, but that does not mean we don't try. That does not mean that you say, no, we're not doing it this way, we're not doing it that way. And this is my opinion, that I think you should try everything, and I believe strongly in having a third party. The NDP is the reason why we have universal health care, for example. So absolutely, a third party is essential in your government, a real third party. I'm going to get into now, let me just get into now the video real quick so we can so we can discuss a little bit more about this?
There are institutional barriers in the current election system that make it difficult for third-party candidates to get more attention and thus votes. Presidential debates are hugely important for candidates looking to raise their national profiles. Just look at what Donald Trump has been able to do this year. But the only candidates that typically qualify are Democrats and Republicans. And who sets up the qualifying criteria? A privately operated group called the Commission on Presidential Debates that's controlled by other Republicans and Democrats. Among other rules, the CPD says the parties must get 15% support in multiple polls to qualify. But as the third parties will tell you, it's tough to poll well when you don't have a large base, you don't get a lot of media attention, and sometimes you're not even included in the polls at all. Libertarian nominee Gary Johnson was only just recently included in polls, and the Green Party's Jill Stein was arrested in 2012 for trying to attend a debate she didn't qualify for.
So I just want to stop it there real quick to show you how, you see how hard it is to get a third party? They will do anything in their power not to get a third party into a legitimate position. And I'm not telling you not to do it. You absolutely, you should be striving for that, because it will make the American government come to the left. It will make the Democrats come to the left. They will have to come to the left if there's a party left of them that's actually a legitimate party. Now, this is why I stress so much on not looking within the party system in itself, because wherever you can try and find, because it's hard to do both, right? It's people are going to say, well, it's hard to, you're not going to ever take over the Democratic Party because they'll stop you from doing that as well. Yes, they'll try. They'll try to stop us in any way possible. That's why we got to look for victories wherever we can. And if you're holding yourself back from not doing something just because you don't believe in a certain group, I'm going to show you right now how even in our government, there's still corruption, even in the most left third party. I'm also going to show you the victories that a third party can have. And I know that there's more institutional biases in America, which is why it's a lot harder for any of this to actually be accomplished, infiltrating or starting a third party. So let me get into showing you the NDP party in Canada.
Something most Canadians probably never thought they'd see. Not just an NDP government in Alberta, but a strong majority.
Most political parties, the NDP has had its share of success and failure.
The closest parallel could be Ontario. Like Alberta, an overly confident government tried to take advantage of a weak opposition and call the snap election in the 90s. Then, in a surprise upset, NDP leader Bob Rae and his party were voted into power. The NDP lasted only one term, and the party has never recovered. The NDP in BC were strong in the 90s, but after financial mismanagement and a series of scandals that led to the resignation of Premier Glenn Clark, the party lost power. The New Democrats have had much better outcomes in other provinces. Saskatchewan was led by the NDP for more than a decade. In the 90s...
So we could just end it there. I just wanted to show you how the NDP has had many successes in Canada. So it is possible for third parties to have success, and it's important to have that. But I also just wanted to show you how even the NDP gets corrupted, and they're a left party. They're the party that you want so bad in America, which you need and deserve. But that's why you can't look at groups, in my opinion, or parties. You got to look within the people in those movements and ask yourself, are those people going to sign off on the policies that we need in America? And if you do, you have to vote for them, in my opinion. And trying to tell people not to do something. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. You don't have to do it. But don't go around telling people that you shouldn't do that. Because I'm here to tell you that parties will get corrupted regardless. So you got to look within the people within the movement. And I just want to show you another example of people who think the Democratic Party is going to implode. The NDP has, you know how many prime ministers in a country that's progressive and the most left party? You know how many prime ministers they've had in Canada? 0. Never ever has a prime minister from the NDP party been prime minister of Canada. The only one time the NDP was even the opposition party in Canada was once in 2011, where they almost destroyed the Liberal Party, and they garnered 103 seats where the Liberal Party garnered 34. And at that point I thought, wow, did the NDP just obliterate the Liberal Party? They have no seats in the House. Wow, they've just flipped this whole situation. You know what happened in the next election? Not only did the Liberal Party get back in power, the Liberal Party had 184 seats, and the NDP went back to 44. So that is just something that I want to show, that I think people should know and see, that the Democratic Party is not going anywhere. And so if you can get people within each party, each third party, Justice Democrats, the Liberal Party, the Democratic Party, and try and find progressives in those movements that are going to sign off on the policies that we need, that you guys need them to sign off on, you have to support them and vote them in. Because these people will all, at the end of the day, work with each other. Because they all believe in the same things. I'm trying my best, man. I love the progressive movement in America. And I never thought I'd be arguing with people, the people that I agree with on the policies who are lefties. But I do, and I hate it. And when I started this, I thought I was going to be arguing with Republicans and the Hillary Clinton wing of the party. But I seem to be arguing with lefties who, I don't know, for some reason, they just don't want to, they just don't see it the way I see it, I guess. And so they think that I'm trying to do something nefarious. But I just want to get my point across of how I view the situation. I'd like to hear your guys' opinion. I'd like to hear people who share my viewpoint and think that, you know, that's a legitimate way of going about trying to get progressives in office, because it's going to be hard either way. Anyways, thanks, guys. I hope this video wasn't too long and people can watch this whole thing. Thanks.